All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching from. Today, we'll have some revision on what we have done before, and then we move on from variable, right? So, I'll be using programmings.com/Java program online compiler so that you can follow from here and you can try whatever it is that I'm doing, so we'll be on the same page from here. These are the things that we've done before. If you look at this guy now, you will see that this is a simple program on how to print hello world, as you can see, on how to print hello world to the screen. So if I run it now, you will see the output here. Right, you can see hello world here. At the same time, we are talking about some variables, but today I will start from variables. But before I go on to that, we also discussed how to get input from keyboard, and that is with the use of import. We do import, right? So you can say java util dot scanner java.util.scanner. That is what we have imported. So if I run my program and if there is any error, right, the program will not run. I can say welcome to my input program, right? So if I run the program now, you'll see that if I run the program now, you'll see that we'll have the output here. Okay, so welcome to my input program, as you can see. Now, where are we going to? What we want to do is how we can receive input from the keyboard. Before you can create or receive any input from the keyboard, you must import java.util.scanner. Scanner is a class that has inputs and also some output classes or objects. So before we can get any input from the system, we need to import the class object that is responsible for that. How do we do that? So we have imported scanner. That's the very first step. Look at, we have it at the very upper part of our program. Then inside the public static void, that is where all the runnable scripts will be written. So the very first thing I'm going to do, let me create a comment by doing //. Don't forget that comment is ignored, or comments are ignored by Java compiler. They are not executable part of program. So what do we do? I want to add a comment that this line create an object from the scanner class. This is to tell you that before you can use this to create an object from it, what is the purpose of this object? Once you create an object from scanner class, you will now use the object to get input from what? From your keyboard. How do we do that? You can do scanner, that's the name of the class we have imported to our program. Then you create a name, you name your object. I can give it any name, but in my own case, I will call it input. Why? because I called it input because I'm creating an input object. That's why I use input. Scanner input is equals to new scanner. So you have created a new object from scanner. The new object you just created, the name of that object is input. So what is the purpose for this? The purpose is to get information from the keyboard. Though you now say system dot in. So that is you are expecting something to be received from what? From your input through the keyboard. So if I run the program now, if there's any error, the error will be here. But so far so good, there's no error, right? And I press enter. So after that, I now want to get input from what? From the keyboard. At this point, the system will be expecting you to supply something through your keyboard. How do I do that? Firstly, let me tell my user that I'm expecting them to enter their name, system.out.println. I can say, or let me use dot print. I can say enter name here. So once I do that, I can press enter. Now, when you say enter your name here, that is what led to creating we understanding what variables are. Before that, I will do string my name is equals to input. Why do I say input? Because I'm expecting them to supply something from what? From the keyboard. I'll say dot next line. Input dot next line. Then so I'll do input dot next line. If I run the program now, if everything is fine, you see that it will be executed right here. So my name is Goke, right? So I can now press enter. So after that, the program is done executing. But we cannot know right now whether the input has been accepted by the system. Okay, I can now say welcome. Sorry, I can say system dot out dot print say printf. We have done all these print formats, but I can still explain it maybe later. Printf welcome send s to my Java class, comma my name. Yeah, after that, we then run the program. So from here, okay, the program is still running. It's internet, it's network issue, right? It's still running. Program is still running. Don't forget, if there's any error in the output, we may have some error. If there's any issue, right? The program is still loading. And I guess this is network issue, right? So this is network issue. Okay. Okay, so the program is still loading. So I want to use another channel so that this will not delay us, right? So that will not delay us. Okay, so now we have another page. I don't want it to delay us. I just copied what I have there. So now once I click run, I expect the output to come. This guy is still loading, right? This guy is also loading. It's loading here. Okay, so I can hit the run. I'm waiting for it to finish loading some script up here, right? Still loading, still loading, still loading, still loading. I want it to finish loading. So it's actually my network. Mm, okay, so let me hit the run. Still loading too, also running. Look at that. So there's an error from here. Scanner input equals to new scanner. Yeah, if you look at this error here, I just copied this program from here and I forgot to copy this guy, import java.util.scanner. I forgot to do that. So that's what I'm going to do here. I've told you if you didn't import it, that would cause an error. Java.util.scanner, right? Then I can now rerun my program. So the error should go. So enter your name. I'm gonna wait for that. Enter your name. My name is Goke Ademola. Just name. If I hit enter and I say welcome Goke Ademola to my Java class. So those are the things, this we've done all this before in one of our recent classes. Okay. So our today's class is strictly based on variables. It's strictly based on variables. Strictly based on variables. Now, I'll start explaining what variables are. So coming to variable, what is variable? Java. Variables are containers for storing data values. What do I mean? You can store information into variables. See it as if you have a cupboard where you store your information. That is exactly what is a variable or what a variable is. Or see it as a container. Something, a container. Okay, let's assume that you have different things. You have your cream, let me say you have your cosmetics, you have your fruit, you have your freezer, you have you have various things. And if you are well kept, you want to keep fruit to a particular place, you want to keep other things, you want to keep rice, you want to keep your food storage into different containers. So see variable as what? As container. So in Java, there are different types of variables. Hence, in our day to day in day out activities, there are different containers. One that you will keep your shoes, one that you keep your CD rack, one that you keep your water, one that you keep your beverages, your consumables and all of that. So that is exactly what it is in programming too. We have different types of variables. For example, we have string. String if you look at the program I just wrote for you, you see that I have declared string here. Look at that string. I've declared string here. So string is a type of variable that stores text such as hello. String values are surrounded by double quotes. String values are surrounded by what? By double quotes. For instance, if I am working on string, currently Mm. If I'm working on string, sorry. So if I'm working on string, I can do, why is this thing not working? Alright, if I'm working on string, I can do string name is equals to, like I said, string value are surrounded by what? By double quotes, meaning that when you are assigning value to string, you must put it in double quotes. Okay, let me say Goksin auto. Now, string or strings character are anything that is any type of character at all. Alphanumeric could be alphabet and number. In fact, sometimes your string can be numbers, combination of number keys. For instance, if I do 08162504685, like this is a phone number, right? So sometimes your phone number will say plus 234. So this is because you have enclosed it in quotes. It is treated as what? String. And you are to tell the compiler the type of variable it is. This type of variable is a string. The name of the variable is name, or let me say my number for clarity. String is a type of the variable. If I say, okay, go and store this thing. Let's say I have fruit and I already have a container where I store my fruit, right? If I now call somebody, please go and store this item. So the person will process it in his brain or her brain that what type of item is he holding? Dat type of item is a fruit. Then automatically there's a container where you store your what? Your fruit. So the moment you tell computer that this is a variable called my number, what type of variable is my number? Then computer says that, oh, it's a string type. Then information that you are saving into it must be what? Enclosed into what? Into quote, double quote. Double quote. Don't forget double quote, right? That also applies to this hello world. You are printing a line and that line is hello world and it is enclosed into what? Into quotes, double quote. That shows that it is telling computer that this double quoted word is a string. Now, the type of this variable is string, the name of the variable is my number, and the value is stored into my number is this quoted, double quoted information. So that is string variable. You told computer that this type of variable is string and the name of the variable is what? My number. So we also have other types of variable. Like I've explained that you have different container for different things. So there's what we call integer. Integer stores whole numbers without decimals such as 123, -12, that is positive value and negative values. Integer what? Stores them. How do you create an integer variable? So all you have to do is to tell computer that this is an integer by doing int. Then your computer will know that you are telling the system, the compiler, that this type of variable is what? Is an integer. So what do you do next? You say int my age is equals to 56. Look at that, 56. Now, if you look at it very well, the difference between these two variables is you told computer at the first instance that this is a string, and the second instance you told computer that this is an integer. So computer will know how to deal with the two, right? And then the name of the first variable is my number, the name of the second variable is my age. And the third difference between the two is the information saved into my number is enclosed in double quotes, right? Why my age doesn't have any closure. There's no there's nothing that enclose it. You just wrote it direct. So it is not in anything closed. But as it is said that integer is a whole number, you see it doesn't have any decimal places. It doesn't have any decimal point. It's just there, 56 is the whole number. Then the next variable I talk about is float. Float stores floating point numbers with decimals such as 19.99 or 20.20 from both the negative side and the positive side. So you can do 19.99 and also you can do negative 19.99. How do you do that? So you go to your compiler again and you do float. Don't forget float. Float uh my my cut is equals to 2.5%, right? 2%. Look at that. So you have successfully declared a float. And how will computer know that this is a float? By the variable names. Variable type. This is string, this is integer, this is float. Why their names are my number, my age, my cut. And then look at their value. The value also is different. That's not to say you cannot say 2. Yes, you can also say 2. How? How do I mean? You can do 2. But let me show you real quick. System dot out dot print ln my number. Yeah, sorry. System dot out dot print ln my age. System dot out dot print ln my cut. Note that my cut is float and then I've written just 2 into it. Now you see the difference now. Look at that. It automatically added 0 because you've told your compiler that this is float and then it will be treated as such, right? So the next one we can talk about, we can say character. How do you tell your computer this is a car? So you do character anytime you want just single character. What do I say? Single character. You can do car option is equals to y. So computer will know that this guy is a character. And if you do yx, it is no longer a character, thus it is a programming error, right? Type error. It is a type error. We have declared uh we have declared option as a character, but instead of us to supply character, we are supplying string. And also we committed another blunder that string should be enclosed into double quote, not single quote. You can see on close character literal. You can see that. So that is an error. Okay. So the only way is that character can only accept single character. So after this, we won't have any problem with it any longer because we've corrected the error. The next one we'll talk about is Boolean, right? We have Boolean, Boolean, Boolean. So that's going to be Boolean, um, Boolean, accepted is equals to true. Okay, so if I run the program also, so we won't have any issue because we've declared it as boolean. So we told this compiler that this accepted as a variable name is boolean type and can only store either true or what, or false. Look at that, can only store true or false. Okay, can only store true or false. The next thing that we'll be talking about is how do we declare variable in Java? How do we declare variable in Java? Although during the explanation I have explained to you how you declare variable, there are many more variables that I have not talked about, right? I would talk about them, okay? I'll talk about them. I'll talk about them. So how do we declare variable in Java? To declare variable in Java is very simple, okay? Declaring variable in Java is very simple. So how do we do that? Okay, you just go to your program. Don't forget, this is the format, variable type. Look at that, which is either string. Okay, let me go to where I'm actually writing it so that we can see it very well. So type is the very first thing you do, which is either string, integer, float, character, boolean. That's type. Then followed by variable name. Look at that. My age, followed by variable name, my age, my call option accepted. So this variable name can be anything of your choice. But mind you, anytime you are declaring variable, ensure that the name tallies with your intention so that it will be readable and understandable at first, at a glance. Okay, it will be readable, at the same time it will be understandable at first instance. Immediately you glance at it, you will know that okay, this is what, this is a variable, right? And this is what the variable is talking about. This is what the variable is talking about. Now next thing we are going to do, and okay, you can also do equals to value. You have done three things here. You have done three things here. Or sorry, is that three things? It's two things. You have done two things here. The very first thing you did was that you declared a variable. You declared a variable and you assign it a value. That is declaration of variable, assignment of variable, and we can also say you have initialized the variable. That is why I call it three things initially. So I can do int age. Look at that. It's very correct. And you can do, this thing can be reconstructed as int ages equals to 56. Int ages equals to what? 56. So instead of you to write it like this, you break it down, you can simply write int ages equals to 56. Simple and straight. Simple and what? And straight. So that is how to this is how to declare. Let me comment it and say declaring a variable, a variable, and assigning value. Okay, and this is both declaration and assignment. Look at that. Look at that. So this is how to declare variable. But before you declare variable, have it at the back of your mind the type of variable you want to use that best suits your intention. Okay, so let's go to declaring multiple variables. Yeah, you can declare multiple variables, right, at a spot so that you can save yourself writing multiple lines. But this is okay. You can say int um int address number, and also you can do string. Sorry, can we do this? Let me see if we can do this. So you can do string as integer. Here is I've written int address number. I can also say int, since I've added int address number, so I have int from the very beginning, right? I can now say int